Ryan Gosling in space. So the other day I got to watch Project Hail Mary, the newest movie starring Ryan Gosling, where he has to go into space to save the entire planet. Now at first, when I first saw trailers for this movie, it seemed a bit ridiculous. Ryan Gosling is a very interesting actor, and I do like seeing movies that he's in, so I was probably gonna already see this regardless. And also, this kind of a plot just seems like it's so batshit crazy that I just have to watch it. I know this is based off of a book, and I don't really know too much about the book, and I didn't read it beforehand. But after watching this movie, I will say I probably would have enjoyed the book better. I do think this movie did not live up to the hype that people are saying it is. I think the movie is good, it's fine, it's definitely got some good moments, great moments if anything, but to go to where this is like the greatest movie ever, or the greatest space movie ever, no, this is not it. This was just a good movie. I do not think this was all that great, and now I'm going to talk about it. I think so far the story premise is pretty good. You have a guy who needs to go out into space and figure out what's going on, and then he befriends another alien creature that's there for the same reason. This was all from the trailers, and there's some moments in this movie and also the trailers where Ryan's character has to communicate with this Rocky type alien. He actually is called Rocky in the movie, and so it's them getting to learn each other, getting to learn each other's cultures and bonding while they figure out what's going on. Seemed like it was a pretty cool story. Unfortunately, the story doesn't even really get all that interesting until like an hour after the movie starts. I think the first part of this movie is really boring and not really all that important or interesting. Like, yeah, I got a few like chuckles, like light chuckles out of me when I saw Ryan Gosling just dicking around the spaceships, and I'll get to him later, but really the story was just not interesting in the first half. And then it got really, really good when we got introduced to Rocky. And mind you, this movie is 2.5 hours long, and it felt like this was a 3-hour movie. So to have 1 hour just not be that interesting is really not that great of a start. I know some people may also like it, but this is just me. I really didn't like the first hour of this movie, maybe 45 minutes. They do a good thing with like the start of the movie has Ryan Gosling in the spaceship already like years into the journey, and then they're interweaving the flashbacks of like how this all came to be. I think that's a pretty smart way to do it. That way you like kind of just don't have one half of the movie just be the build up and the other half just be the payoff. I think that structure was pretty great. Ryan Gosling as an actor, I am not that impressed by what he did with this movie. There was just a lot of times where I feel like he wasn't really trying that much, and I know Ryan Gosling is not like the craziest actor ever, but I still like what he does. But I really would have loved to see more from him for this movie. I don't know if it was the directing or if Ryan didn't just need to try. But he really did not impress me with this movie, and I really wish he could have been more expressive, been more of himself throughout the movie. There was just times where I just felt like this could have just been any actor, and Ryan Gosling didn't need to be there. It could have just been any random guy. Speaking of guy, Ryan Gosling's character, Ryland Grace, I know, right? Amazing fucking character name. Haha, RG. At first, we see this character being put into this situation, and it seems fine at all, but there's not really a lot of depth to him. He's just a teacher who's really smart and doesn't have a lot of friends, and it looks like a loved one, or at least he had one. You really don't get to know much about his character in the flashbacks. To be honest, his character really shines only when he's with Rocky, which let's get into that character. Rocky is the savior of this film. He absolutely kills it. This character is really amazing, and I actually want a little figurine of Rocky because he's that amazing. He's adorable. He's funny the way he discovers things and learns about the humans. He's honestly the reason why this movie is actually pretty decent. Voiced by James Ortiz. And him and Rocky, they do play off of each other. These two character dynamics, this is when it shows. Really, Ryan Gosling's character doesn't really impress me at all unless he's with Rocky. Really, I was just like, when are we going to get back to Rocky? I really would love to talk about other characters in this movie, but there really just isn't. There's this character named Eva who's the general commander in charge person, whatever, of this entire military operation, but we don't really get to know that much about her. There is a scene where she gets emotional and she's singing and kind of being open and wanting to believe in humanity and saving the earth. I don't really know how to describe it too much, but that scene in the bar, which you'll know when you see it, that scene is the only thing we have for this character. I don't really remember anything else about her. Everyone else just does not matter. There was Officer Carl, who was with Ryan's character, who helped him figure out what was affecting the sun. It was a pretty cool character, but really nothing special. So yeah, there's really only 2 characters in this movie, and they're only good when they're together. There is some interesting music pieces I remember. I don't know if it was all original, but I do know they were playing some already existing soundtracks. It was just fine, but it's nothing really memorable. I want to say there were some scenes where the music was pretty good, but that's about it. Just good, nothing like really great where it's like, oh wow, the soundtrack's amazing. The director of this movie also directed 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and the Lego Movie. And that's a lot of impressive movies. Most of them I really like. I will say this is probably going to be his weakest movie for me, at least as of right now. I could change my mind if I ever watch these movies again. But from the guy who's directed some really decent movies, I really was expecting more from him. Like, I was expecting better. I really wish I could even talk about lighting, color, but unfortunately, I live in a place where people don't give a shit about movie theaters. The movie theater that I went to was so awful. The lighting and the audio mixing was just so ass. I really wish I could talk about the aspects of this film, but there's no point because it's not truthful to the film. This happened one time when I went to see Transformers 1, and the lighting and color just looked awful. So, unfortunately, I really don't have much to talk about there. I'd imagine the color was pretty great, because from the color that I saw, it was very pretty and it was a good spectacle. There's this moment that's in a lot of the trailers where Ryan Gosling sees these sparkles in this colorful, like, space of red stars, and that's truly a beautiful ass scene. It's very iconic, if anything. I just wish my fucking movie theater would actually like stop falling apart for me to enjoy it. It is a pretty fun movie, like I mentioned, with Rocky and Grace. Once they're together, they are on this mission to figure out what's going on with the suns around their planets, or I think the sun, because there's this virus that's going around and killing like the sun slowly, and it's affecting both of their planets. The writing did make sense, but you know, it's one of these space movies where they're not really going to explain it like too well. They do explain it scientifically, but not like literally. Just know they're just like little alien, you know, bacteria that eats the suns and all that. When it comes to these movies, this whole like, oh, what caused the creation or what are they after, doesn't always really matter too much. I really wish they would have focused a little bit more on the whole consequences of what was going to happen. I know they all mentioned it, like, oh, countries are going to go to war because resources are going to deplete and everything. But that's really it. There really wasn't no like, oh shit, we have to go. We have to go and do this Hail Mary project. There is an incident in the film where things kind of go for the worst, but I don't want to mention that too much, mainly because it's kind of a spoiler, and also I don't know like if it was a cause of like of what's going on with the plot. So yeah, there are some things that set the plot back that make it all intense, but I really would have liked it if it just showed like, oh, what's going on around the world, what's going on with the planet and the kids and the plants and all that. Like I said, they just mention it, they don't really show it, just kind of just like, we're just trust us, bro. Things suck right now. I mentioned it earlier, but throughout the film there was moments where it was good and funny, but then there were moments where it was bad and not funny. Like, they have, I don't even know how to explain it nowadays. There's just times where it's like, you can tell jokes are made for like the most common denominator. Like, it's something that your grandparents would laugh and chuckle at. And I know that's a weird thing to say, but this movie has so many of those moments where things just are happening and like someone's like, hell yeah, this is happening. Or like someone says a quippy one-liner and the audience just laughs, because people were definitely laughing when I watched it. I just wish comedy was, you know, more serious. Like, if you're gonna tell a joke, actually try or something. Don't just be lazy and say 6-7 or whatever and expect everyone to laugh. Yeah, it's really hard to say, but just know there was moments where the movie was clearly waiting for like there to be a silence so the audience could laugh. Times throughout the movie there wasn't really like a struggle for resources. Like, they didn't really go into the whole like survival aspect of this, because with this whole mission they're going like light years away, and Ryan's character is going to be really far away from the planet, but they don't really do anything about like, you know, survivability or like living off of like a certain amount of food. The movie just says that he just has enough, and that's just it. There really isn't any struggles with this space journey as far as Ryan's mission. Like, something does happen, but for Ryan's character, he seems pretty chill throughout the movie. I know this is also very nitpicky, but it just seems insane that like this crazy space mission that's called Project Hail Mary just has kind of no struggles whatsoever. Like, yeah, there is struggles, but I don't want to mention them because that would spoil things. But when it comes to Ryan's character, things just kind of just go fine. Especially when he meets Rocky, things just kind of get more easier for him. Again, I would say what happens that are struggles throughout the movie, but that would include spoiling the movie. The settings for the most part was pretty interesting. We got to see like Rocky's environment and more about Rocky's place. That was pretty cool. Most of the time we're just in a spaceship, so there's not really much to look at. There is a lot of things to learn from Rocky's character and his home, so I won't say too much about that. It is pretty interesting. Last thing I really just want to mention is that there is another movie that involves a man in space. I don't want to say the name of it, but this movie reminded me a lot about it. But I feel like people might be able to know once they see the ending of the movie. They're going to be like, oh, wow, this is just like that other movie. But yeah, Project Hail Mary. I think it's a really decent movie. You know, the characters when they're together are the best parts. They really come alive when they're together. The story is interesting. It doesn't really go too much into a lot of things. Just here's the story and here's what we got to do. Like the shots and the places that we got to see were pretty cool. The certain, like, places we eventually will go to and see are pretty cool looking. There's a really beautiful scene that happens in space that's really great. It's just unfortunately with that, the runtime and how Ryan Gosling's character just feels phoned in sometimes, and how they're really just any other character besides Rocky and Grace, and you know, the lack of like exploring the whole universe that we're in. This is what brings it down for me a little. So yeah, it's like weird writing that it has where it's like it's good in some areas but kind of mid in some areas. Overall, this movie is just a good movie, really. It's fine. I don't think this deserves like 9s and 10s, really. But of course, that's just what I think. I'm going to give this a 7.5 out of 10. It's probably more like a 7 if anything. Maybe I could change my mind if I actually were to see the movie in a theater that actually is updated and actually has a working projector that doesn't look like it's falling apart. AMC, holy shit, fix your fucking theaters, man. But yeah, that was Project Hail Mary. What do you guys think about the movie? Let me know. Let's talk about it. Let me know if you want me to talk about other movies. Anyway, have a nice one.